I'm sick of shortcuts that don't work. I'm sick of niches that print money. I'm sick of AI tools that do it all for you. I'm sick of YouTube hacks that'll basically wipe your ad friendly. I spent 2 years looking for shortcuts and I never went viral. And when I finally did go viral, it was so stupid and so simple that I almost didn't believe it. Until I saw 20K in my bank account, that was really hard to ignore. But 500 million views later, I'm ready to share it with you. I've shared it with my VIPs, I've shared it with my coaching clients, but now I'm making it public. And it is so simple. Seriously, so simple, I'm not even gonna edit this video, okay? So, before I started YouTube, I was a pizza delivery driver. And I made about $8 an hour, something like that. And then with tips, I made like $15 an hour on average. And so that was like $7 in tips. And I worked about 27 hours a week. It was a small town in Ohio. There wasn't much work. And I did the math here. If I had worked for 496 hours, that's like 18 weeks or 4.5 months, I would have made the same exact amount of money delivering pizzas as I did with 1 hour of the perfect hook. The very first one I used the perfect hook on, it made $7,450. That's how much the perfect hook made. And it is so simple. Okay, I'm gonna show you some examples here in a bit from my clients, the people in my VIP. There's like Minecraft, there's 3D printing, real estate, music artists, and hopefully the goal here is that you can just take the perfect hook and make it work for you. And then the comments below will be like, dude, it worked! Holy crap! I got monetized! Okay, so it's very simple. Did I say that? Step one. There's only 2 steps. All right. Step one is the setup, and the setup is all about medium rare steaks. No, it's just low stakes, all right? Typically low stakes. If you start high, then you have to build higher. So I go with low stakes. So my example was nobody was buying this man's food. This is the one that made $7,000. Nobody was buying this man's food. He was a food vendor and nobody was buying his food. Anything can be stakes. That is just a tiny little problem. Nobody would play Minecraft with me, or nobody was visiting my server, or solicitors kept knocking at my door. Anything, like, my cat won't eat his food. Just so simple. Simple, low stakes, okay? Then, the other simple step about this, number 2, is unexpected or unrelated action. All right, this is a little bit of a twist. So, unexpected or unrelated action. You have the stakes. You have set up this tiny little stupid problem, and so your solution here, like I would be totally unrelated. So, here's my perfect hook, the one that made 7,000. Nobody was buying this man's food, so he took out his iPhone and he glued it to the ground. Why would he do that? That makes no sense, right? But the people had to stay to the end to find out why. I connected the dots at the end, and I'll go ahead and spoil it for you. He glued his phone to the ground so people would come up and try to pick it up, but when they couldn't, they would stand up and then they'd be in front of his stand and they'd have to buy his food. That was it, right? I built up a little bit of tension with people dropping dollars and stuff like that, but that was it. And honestly, I didn't even need the tension. It was just really about the setup, the unexpected action, and then telling them at the end. That's it, okay? So let's talk about a couple examples. I'm gonna start with my coaching clients. I usually help them write, okay? If you're interested in coaching, go to viral.coach. I've opened it up for a couple people this month. I usually limit it, so more than welcome if you want me to help you write and go viral, that sort of thing. But my first client that used the perfect hook, I know she made over $1,000 with it. I can't remember the exact view count, but I know it was like over 6 or 7 million. Engaged views. It was over like 10 million regular. Anyway, so the perfect hook for her was I asked her, what's a low stakes kind of crappy situation you're dealing with? And she said, people keep ripping up my for sale signs. And so I told her, okay, so let's come up with a solution to that, but make it sound like it's totally unrelated to it, okay? And so I asked her, well, how can you solve this issue? And she's like, well, I could call the cops. All right, well, if you said you call the cops after it, it's going to be kind of obvious what it is. So it doesn't meet unexpected, okay? So what else could you do? And she's like, well, I could hammer it down deeper. And I said, okay, if you get a hammer, it's not going to be unexpected still. People are going to know what you're using the hammer for. But what if you got a baseball bat? And so her hook became people keep ripping up my for sale signs, so I bought a baseball bat. It's unexpected and it's unrelated because what do baseball bats have to do with real estate, right? Thing is, the baseball bat was extra special because it seemed like shit was about to go down, right? And so at the end, she used the baseball bat to hammer it in, and it was almost impossible to pull out the for sale sign, and that led her to get $1,000 or over $1,000. Then my other client, music artist, nobody would listen to my music, so I found my biggest hater. That was it, okay? And so, short, slightly related, hater, music, but it was unexpected. Like, I didn't realize this guy was going to be a stalker. And so he found his biggest hater. And how he connects those dots at the end, man, I don't want to ruin it, but also I don't think you'll find him. How he connected it is, I wrote it down here. Oh, he went through a bunch of bad reviews. No, he gave himself a bunch of bad reviews. And then it created a bunch of interest in how much this guy hated this artist. And people were defending the artist. Like, he's not that bad. He's actually pretty good. And then they had no idea that the hater was him the whole time. And so, there's an extra twist at the end. So, that is the perfect hook. I can't remember his exact numbers, but I know it did well. Okay? That's the perfect hook. You set up stakes, unexpected action. Now, let me give you a couple examples. A lot of you are Minecrafters. A lot of you are Robloxers. But let me just give you a bunch I have written down here. So, game news. This indie game studio was completely broke, so they leaked their own source code. Okay? Unexpected, for sure, because why would they do that? Why would they do that? And so, in the source code, it said something like, do not release, or something like that. And so, the attention that these wannabe hackers gave the game actually boosted the game's sales and made money for the studio. And so the leaking was unexpected. Another game, The Witcher, like a new expansion's coming out for The Witcher, which I'm stoked about. But a totally unexpected reaction is that people are pissed, right? So The Witcher came out with a new DLC and people are pissed. When in reality, you would think people should be happy, right? There's a new Geralt story. But the twist at the end is that people are mad because that means that the Geralt story will officially end. And so that's it. I mean, that one's not super powerful, but it does follow the perfect hook formula. And if you did game news, I bet it would do pretty well. Why are people mad, right? They want to know, so they stay to the end. We've got food. No one was visiting my restaurant, so I deleted all my 5-star reviews. Totally the opposite of what you would want to do. But when he did that, I think he also gave himself bad reviews, and then it gained some interest there. I don't know, it was meme worthy. And so, let's move on to Minecraft. Minecraft. Hackers, I don't play Minecraft, so forgive me, but I believe this makes sense. Hackers kept using X-ray mods to steal my diamonds. Okay, that's a problem you probably deal with. Maybe, I don't know. And so, what is an unexpected or unrelated action that could lead to a solution, that could fix it, but nobody would expect how. Nobody would be able to predict how you did it. So this one is, hackers kept using X-ray mods to steal my diamonds, so I told my mommy. It's like, what? Well, turns out his mom was the admin, and I guess that is an important person. I don't know. Fill me in. Let me know in the comments what that means, please. I just gave one of our VIPs, our Real Creators, realcreator.community, if you want to join the VIP. It's the most attention I can give to creators without them becoming a coaching client. But I gave one to my VIPs that was Elden Ring based, and I don't want to. I'll post it once he does, but I'm very, very excited about it. Okay, and then the ultimate, I have another example here. You know how people hate or distress jeans, right? Nobody was buying my jeans, so I cut holes in them, like something like that. Except the problem is when the unexpected action or twist is so obvious and the fix is obvious what's going to happen, it doesn't work. It truly has to be unexpected or unrelated, okay? But this isn't the only way to hook. This is just the one that made me the most money. $20K a month. Again, that's what this is. And I want you guys to use it and then tell me in the comments how much money you made. Or did you get monetized? Tell me. Let me know. Or let me know if it sucks, all right? Anything is engagement. All right, but yeah, this isn't the only way to hook. I made a video about some text hooks that kill just as much as this, okay? And it's right here. I didn't prepare an end screen. I told you I wasn't going to edit this. So, a song. It's not luck. Don't give a fuck. You're not stuck. Use my perfect hook. Use my perfect hook. Did I just rhyme hook with fuck?